Hi guys, this is the ranting weasel. Inside today because it's a freaking cold outside here in Texas. Um, Today I'm going to talk about something that I do try to avoid a little bit, at least in these, because it is super polarizing, and that's politics. Our illustrious president-elect, Mr. Trump. Uh, Obviously, I have quite a liberal bent. I wouldn't say that I'm a Democrat per se, but I definitely have a more liberal political outlook. Okay, I think that I believe that in the social reform programs and whatnot, things like equality for transgender and different races and between men and women. Okay. Uh, I was raised by a single mom, and she somehow managed to do it mostly on her own. I mean, don't get me wrong, she had help from family and whatnot. As far as I know, we didn't really have much help from the government. Now, whether that was because she was didn't know or was too proud or whatever, I don't know. But you know, uh, trying to make it on my own here, I've had to apply for food stamps a couple of times and whatnot just to make ends meet. You know what I mean? Especially having to walk everywhere and not having a car. You got to have fuel to run the machine, and no fuel, the machine don't go nowhere. So, um, I've been on a starvation diet a couple of times, but anyhow, what I really want to talk about is Father Trump's cabinet and some parallels to other historical political figures that we went to war against. His cabinet, mainly, I could care less that his cabinet is that one member of his cabinet has more money than a third of all American households. That would be his Commerce Secretary nomination. But these guys are science deniers, and when I say that, I'm talking specifically about climate change and the fact that they're mostly uh, that they have a lot of ties into the oil industry. Okay, now I have nothing against fossil fuels. I love working on cars. I mean, it is one of the few things that really calms me down. You know what I mean? I can get into it and get in my zone and just forget about whatever the hell's bothering me and fix that problem right there. Um, but that doesn't change the fact that the world's getting warmer. Okay, it's not an opinion. If you look historically, there have been cycles of ice ages, and then it warms up, and then another ice age comes through, and then it warms up again. Okay, we haven't had an ice age since we had a mini one shortly before the Industrial Revolution, but since the Industrial Revolution, we have not had a true ice age, and that we are way long overdue for one. You know what I mean? Like the polar caps are melting and whatnot, sea levels are rising, and I'm in central Texas, so that doesn't really bother me too much, but it could. If enough of the ice melts, the sea level will rise enough, okay? In your coastal cities, uh, which are where we have the so-called coastal elites now, New York, San Francisco, LA, Seattle, um, Washington, D.C., all these Baltimore, all these places are going to be underwater eventually. Um, and it's sad. It's really sad that um, we're the president elect is doing all that he can to try and figure out how to back out of the Paris Accords that were signed last year, earlier this year, and just trying to undo this good work that people are trying to get done to help the earth. Okay, we haven't figured out how to live on Mars yet. We haven't figured out how to get people 2 other planets. We haven't even really found many other habitable planets. Okay. So until we do that, we kind of need to take care of the one we got. It's dog doesn't shit where he eats. It doesn't shit where he sleeps. But with all this oil pipelines and whatnot bursting and ruining parts of the environment. I mean, yeah, we have huge surpluses of grain and whatnot, but then you look at the figures, and 40% of food is wasted in our country alone, in the United States alone. Personally, I try not to waste anything. I was raised by spent a little bit of time in my childhood living with my very, very German grandfather, and waste not, want not, and that was literally beaten into me. So, just these people are very heavy promoters of this waste economy and so-called trickle-down economics, but once the cup overflows, it's supposed to come down to the little people like me. But somehow when the cup gets full, it magically gets bigger. So there's nothing to come down to the little people. And that's kind of the fallacy of trickle-down economics there, is it doesn't work, really, But as for my comparisons with President-elect Trump and certain other historical figures that he's been linked to, namely Adolf Hitler. And now I'm not saying that Trump is Hitler. Okay, I'm not saying that. I am saying that there are very scary parallels here. Okay. Hitler ran in 1933 on "Make Germany Great Again" and xenophobia against the Jews, and which at the time, that wasn't a very uncommon view in Europe. Okay, so the xenophobic part is the bad part. The fact that it was the Jews is heartbreaking, but like I said, that was a very, very common view in Europe at the time. Okay, is that the Jews, and it had been for a while, was that the Jewish people were the cause for a lot of the problems. Okay, so it was a very easy platform to sell and to run on. Okay, the Treaty of Versailles that ended World War I put crazy sanctions on Germany. Okay, and also made it easier for Hitler to run on this "Make Germany Great Again." Okay, because they had been a world power, and because of these sanctions after the Treaty of Versailles, that our President Woodrow Wilson actually argued against, or argued in favor of less severe sanctions, because something like World War II could happen. It's scary. Okay, and then Hitler won, obviously, and went on a victory tour known as the Nuremberg rallies, and it ended up being a yearly thing. Hopefully, Trump's quote unquote thank you tour won't be. But it's also kind of funny, the news is reporting on this thank you tour, and they're like, oh, it's packed, and whatnot, especially Fox News, which I've taken to referring as the Trump News Network. Fox News being the conservative mainstream news source. Okay, and they talk about the mainstream media. Well, they're a part of it. Okay, Fox is a huge part of it. Fox is one of the local channels in pretty every state. Okay, you got your Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC. Okay, you have a local Fox station, and your Fox News, the national station, is everywhere now. It's the #1 news station, which is crazy, but then you've got these other little things, like there's just the rhetoric and the propaganda and everything, and Hitler had was very good at turning things, making things seem less bad than they really were. Like Trump's Trump's ban on Muslims that he proposed during the campaign trail. Hopefully he's backed off of that. But it's just it's the demagoguery is astounding, and the fact that he won the election, and today the Electoral College is actually voting to confirm that the result of the election here that took place a couple months ago, or last month. And it's just, I don't see good things for America, unfortunately. It's disconcerting, and I thought that we had come as a country past the point where hate beat love, and hope and whatnot. But we've had 8 years where Republicans have done everything they can in their power to make sure that nothing that our current President Obama has tried to do for the good of the country and the good of the people has gone through. Okay, we got the Affordable Care Act, and that's been pretty much it. And of course, that's going to be one of the first things that Trump wants to repeal, because that's been the huge Republican thing the whole time that Obama's been in office. And then you have these people, Republican supporters, who are like, oh, well, he's your president now, so deal with it. Well, wait a second. Y'all spent the last 8 years claiming that Obama wasn't your president, even though he won the popular vote in the Electoral College. Okay. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by almost 3 million votes, 2.9 million votes at the last count that I saw. But they, they're like, oh, quit whining, quit crying about it. He's your president now. No, it doesn't work that way. You don't spend 8 years doing everything you can to fight the president that was elected by the people for the people, and then turn around once your candidate is elected and say, oh yeah, now you got to deal with him. It doesn't work that way, homeboy. I hate to tell you. I really hope that Democratic congressmen do everything in their power, just like the Republican congressmen did everything in their power to obstruct and resist and rebel against the craziness. He's within his first month, he's not even of being the president-elect, he's already pissed China off twice. The first time by taking a call from the president of Taiwan, which violates the One China policy that Jimmy Carter put into effect in 1979, which views Taiwan as part of the People's Republic of China. Okay. And then with this latest, the unmanned underwater drone that of ours that China picked up, that was literally just for oceanographic research, salinity, water clarity, things like that, to temperature. Okay, scientific research. All right. Yes, the information could have military purposes, but it's mainly for scientific research. They picked it up, and he tweets out saying, "Oh, it's all mad," and then he goes, "Oh, you know what? Just keep it." What? That's another thing that really bothers me, is his use of Twitter to go around the mainstream media. Yes, it's an effective way to get your opinion out there, but it's there's a reason why there's a White House press corps, okay? And not everybody, especially like my grandparents, my fiance's grandparents, you know what I mean? Her parents, my parents. My parents are pretty technologically literate, but they grew up in a time when the president wanted us to know something, he called a press conference, and he told everybody, not just the crazies that follow him on Twitter. Okay. I think that if you have something to say as a president, it should take more than 140 characters to say it. Granted, I am all for short, sweet, and to the point, but if the president is coming out to say something about something, he'd better have a little more substance and a little more gravity than you can get in a 140 character tweet. Obviously, I supported Senator Bernie Sanders. I really believed that he had a chance, and I really believed in his message and his platform. Okay, I saw in him the same kind of hope message that we got from Obama. Okay, and I don't support everything that Obama did, but overall, I think he's done a good job working with what he had, and by with what he had, I mean the Republican Congress and everything that was doing everything in its power to obstruct and resist. Okay. Anyhow, I think I'm gonna wrap this one up for now. I've talked about this far too long as it is. Y'all have a good day. Of course, if you liked the video, please leave a like. If you really liked it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll get notified when I put new videos up. Any comments, suggestions, criticisms? I have a relatively thick skin, so go ahead and leave them in the comments there. I won't delete them. I mean, unless they're vulgar or personal attacks, you know what I mean? But pretty much if you voice your opinion, I have very strong respect for personal opinions here. Like I said, unless it's a personal attack on me, if it's about what I have to say, go for it. Say it, But anyhow, this has been the Ranting Weasel, and y'all take it easy.